us to introduce themselves, how long they've been married for, they have kids now or not, and they don't, how much they plan on having. So we are hoping at least everybody will say like at least six for a start, because we need to build the young adult church. All right, I'll start from my left-hand side. Hello,
everybody. My name is Michael.
Elizabeth Akiyemi.
We've been married for a year and 3 months. No children. But by God's grace, we'll have 2 kids.
Awesome. Awesome. So please, let's put our hands together for them. Everybody, you guys look beautiful. Congratulations to those that have spent over a decade being married. We're looking forward to learning a lot from you guys on how you guys survived it. I mean, some people really did not survive marriage. Some people enjoyed marriage, right? The term survival means there's some sort of struggle. Some people really enjoyed marriage. So looking forward to learn how we did that, and so that we too can enjoy our marriage, so we are not surviving our marriage. And for everybody that is looking for 2 kids, God says much more than you can ask or imagine. He says, my love will give to you, right? Say, as far as the heavens are from the earth. So may God bless people with children. Some people are saying no. May God bless you people with children as far as your eyes can see. Okay? Everybody say amen for them. No, it's not easy. I have one. They told me, they actually deceived me. And I said this to Pastor, and he's not here now. I'll say it again. Pastor Akemi is here too. They all deceived us. Oh, you people are married now, go and have children. They didn't tell us we'll not sleep again after we have the child. We've not slept full 8 hours at night now, because he wakes up whenever he wants to and sleeps whenever he wants to. So for those people that have our parents that had us like 9, those people are legends. We should respect them. It's not easy. But yeah. So we're going to go into the game. It's gonna be like a quick fire round questions for the couple. We're just trying to see. We're not trying to see if you know your partner. Well, that's not really the goal, because you know your partner anyways, right? We're trying to see what you don't know about your partner, not if you know your partner. You get the idea? So we're trying to see what you don't know about your partner. For example, I can ask a question like, who snores the loudest? That's an example, right? Michael can say, I snore the loudest, and Betty has not even known yet. And Michael snores. You know, that can be, this is an example, right? So, I'm going to go straight into the questions, okay? The idea is, whoever, so if I ask, I'll use Michael, because you guys are closer to me, right? If I ask a question, I say, hey, Michael, who eats the most? Michael says, no, that's not the right example. Let me say, Michael, what's your favorite food? Michael says, my favorite food is Big Mac. Betty, if Michael gets it right, that's true. No. But this thing is not easy. People should not judge me like that. Because this is not easy to be interviewing married people. Have you people interviewed married people before? So
basically, he's gonna ask me what's
Betty's favorite food is. Yes, that's where I was going to.
And then she's gonna clarify if I get it right by reason we get ready.
Yeah. So I'll say, what's Betty's? Let me do it. Why did you make them feel like I don't know? Let me do it. So I'm going to say, what's Betty's favorite food? This was where I was coming to earlier. I just deceived you people to see if you're paying attention. So what's Betty's favorite food? You are going to say Big Mac. I know it's not Big Mac. That's why I use that as an example, right? And then Betty will confirm if Michael got it right. Okay? And then vice versa. You know, I'm going to ask Michael, your favorite food? Michael is going to say Abula. Betty will confirm. I'll ask Betty Michael's favorite, and Michael will confirm. Okay, are we good? Make sense? Did I confuse you guys more? Okay, I tried, and that was my goal, to confuse you guys. All right, so let me start from this side, this couple right here. I'm gonna ask you guys, as surprisingly or as weird this may sound, what is your wife's what is your wife's favorite food? Okay, cool. So if you're in a place where it's like, he's right, it's not right, I guess you just hold the side of the middle so that, I don't know, but doesn't have an answer? Okay. But let's clap for them. Okay? So now I'm gonna ask you, what's your husband's favorite food? Went to school in Nigeria. Is that correct, sir? Okay, let's put our hands together for them. So what I'll do is I'll ask everybody the same question, and then I'll come back for a second round of questions. Okay? And sir, let me. They say ladies first. Okay. Am I on your view? Okay. What's your husband's favorite food?
So he likes rice with atadindi that has fish inside and a rishi inside.
Bros.
And extra spicy.
It has to be extra spicy. Okay, sir. So I'm going to ask you the same question. So you give her the flag now. What's your wife's favorite food? Awesome. Let's clap for them. So, Mandy, what's your husband's favorite food? It's like all these tall African boys, they like beans. They like beans a lot. Okay, and you and you, sir, what's your wife's favorite? On his right. Okay. Huh? Oh, wrong. Sorry, I saw the red. I thought red was correct. Okay. That's wrong. Okay. Type. Yeah. Who does not like that food? But that's not the favorite. Okay, no problem. For you, so you both should get this one. I used you as an example earlier, and the same question. So, what's your husband's favorite food?
His favorite food is chicken wings. Can eat it all day, all night. His favorite food.
Okay, what's your wife's favorite food, sir?
Yam and egg.
Yam and egg. Wow, awesome. Let's clap for them. Good questions. Okay, so I guess I'll go back like this and then I'll come like this. Okay, I got 3 more questions. The next question is gonna be this. I think I started with you, sir. So I'll start with you now. So what's your husband's dream vacation spot? So is that correct, sir? Okay, so you can give and you, sir, what's your wife's favorite vacation spot? You're getting the red. Think. Awesome. Let's clap for them. So me that is asking, someone is looking at me like, you know my own Abi. So I'm just saying it there, yes. Me too. There's somewhere my wife says she wants to go to. She has not told me the name yet. So it's not like I don't know it, she just has not mentioned the name yet. Okay. I'm just clarifying it. Okay, so now I'm going to start from you, sir, right? What's your wife's dream vacation spot? London. Oh yeah, that's correct. Got it. And you, ma'am?
Okay, so for a while now he has been wanting to go to it's called the Serengeti, the Tanzania, or what's it called? Serengeti for us to see those wild animals and like animal shows. So
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. Okay, I'll start with Boy. So what's your wife's favorite or dream vacation spot? Greece.
But I'll still take Greece.
Okay. Awesome. And you? Europe. Anywhere in Europe. Okay. Is that correct? Okay, cool. Let's clap for them. You? What's your wife's dream vacation?
Let's say Europe as well.
Where in Europe?
I'll say London.
Okay, what about you, man? What's
Nigeria.
Awesome. Okay, let's clap for them. And for those of you that are not married yet, be thinking, ask yourself the same questions. What's my favorite vacation or my dream vacation spot? Find your money and go by yourself. Yeah, it's true. Take care of yourself, spoil yourself, look for your money and go. But if you get married now, you can't just wake up and make that decision anymore. Okay? So look for money, go by yourself. Nobody, can't help you with the money part. But the encouragement and the dream, please dream and fulfill your dream, okay? So I'm gonna go back this way, and I'll ask you first, man. What's your husband's favorite movie genre?
It will be thriller, but of recent we've been watching a lot of romance comedy because of me, obviously.
So does that really answer the question? It will be this, but we do this.
Okay, it will be thriller.
Okay. And same thing for you. What's her favorite movie?
Rom-coms.
Okay. Is it correct? Okay. And same thing, I'll ask you first, man.
I should go first?
No, she goes first. his favorite movie genre, action movies. And is that correct? Okay. And what about you, sir? Her favorite
She's always watching reality shows.
reality show?
It's like, reality shows.
Awesome. So sir, I'll be asking. Who did I ask last the first? I'll be asking Yuma. No, you. What's his favorite movie genre?
So he likes watching a lot of history shows about who was the president of one day in Nigeria. Is it what's that Igbo man's name? Ojuku, what kind of stuff? Then he likes animal shows, like it's kind of.
Yeah, and then you, sir, what's her favorite? Any good movie? But that's not the genre, though. Yeah. Thrillers? Okay. Now we are talking. So I'm going to ask you, sir, what's her favorite movie? Comedy? Okay. Awesome. And you, man, what's his favorite? Actions and thrillers? Is that correct? Okay, please let's clap for them. Yeah, if you people want to know what my own is actually cartoons. Yeah, I like cartoons a lot. There's this one, I'll recommend it for you guys to change your lives. Can watch it, King Julian. From King Julian, you guys know that one? I like to move it. Yeah. So you guys, that's very fun. I like that he's so naive. He's so naive in what he does. So that's why I like him. There are some that I can't say here because this is church. But yeah. Okay. And the last one, I'll start again from Michael and I'll come this way. And Michael, this will be for you first, right? What's your partner's or what's your wife's biggest pet peeve?
Say maybe like it's like there's somebody annoying her at work. That's my pet peeve.
Okay, and you, man, what's his?
I don't think he has pet peeves. No, he doesn't have pet peeves.
He kind of agrees and does not agree also. So, yeah.
I would say here in the bedroom. And it does not say here in the bedroom.
So it means if I come visit you guys, I can't just leave my shoe on the. I gotta stick on my shoe and leave it on. I mean, yeah, I get it that you'll be respectful the first time, but next time if I say I'm coming back, you say, you know what, let's just meet at at the restaurant. But okay, sir, and you. No, you first. What's her biggest pet peeves? And you, ma'am.
So he doesn't like a messy house, especially the floors. So he's always sweeping the floors. And I like it because he helps me sweep the floors. So hey.
Okay. And you, ma'am.
He always reminds me not to talk to him like I talk to our son. It's like, don't talk to me like a baby.
What about you, sir? Yeah, awesome. Everybody, please let's put our hands together for our panelists. So now we've gotten to know them, we've asked them questions, and we've learned a lot about them. It's about time where we take general questions. Now, the idea is supposed to be this: we have something to learn from these people, okay? And of course, like I said, if there are questions that is so difficult, which I think it's going to be very rare for something like that to come up. If there are questions that are so difficult that they cannot answer, we still have people that are like doing this married business before some of us were born here in our midst, right? So they can also help us. And if it's so bad that nobody in this hall right now can help us, can ask Google. Is that? Yeah, we can ask Google, phone a friend, or talk to Jesus about it. But this is the opportunity, or this is the time where we should be asking questions. So if you have questions, please just indicate by raising up your hand, and I'll give you the microphone.
My name is Josh. So my question is, in the last, I guess, 10 to 20 years, marriage has not really been what it's supposed to have been. I know, obviously, a year, I've been married for a year to almost 15 years now. What do you think has changed within the last 20 years that people are not trying to get married or trying to even have meaningful relationships nowadays?
I think I could take that. So when I was a bit younger, people my age then, what they looked for in most people I know, what they look for in a partner is what he has inside, not more of what he possesses. So nowadays I feel people trying to go into marriage based on what can I gain? What is in that marriage for me to gain? And if you go into marriage looking for what is my own gain, it won't work for me. Why not go into marriage thinking what can I contribute? What am I bringing to the table? So I think then people always value, like I always think like if I meet my husband, I wanted a man that has depth, that you can think things deep. It's not on the surface. It's not about how fine he is. It's about, does he know God? What are his values? What's inside? Because when he knows God first, every other thing will come. You can always pray for money, everything, but if he doesn't know God, you can't pray for that one. Either he knows God or not. So I think people always look at the outside things more now than what's in the inside.
destroys marriage. So you're taught to look for someone who can do for you versus serving. You're taught to have certain patterns of behavior so that you can get someone versus it being a character trait that's inside of you, of who you are. You're taught a lot of social behaviors. That's why you can have a man who can date very well, give the girlfriend flowers, but once she becomes a wife, he can't do it anymore because that world teaches you how to pretend very well, and it destroys marriage. Everything about it is like selfishness, me, me, me. Do you hit my standards? And it's like this kind of pseudo-marriage relationship that causes you to put the cart before the horse. Hey, how are you in bed before what's your character like? So everything about it, especially in today's society, it destroys marriages. And, you know, it's so sad because in church, and I'm just going to be real, we call it courting, but there's nothing in the Bible on it. Everything in the Bible has to do with marriage. When it talks about relationships, it's brothers and sisters, and then we're married. We don't even know how to be brothers and sisters anymore. You got girls saying, well, he didn't know how good I was, you know, and all this stuff. I'm like, you can't marry everybody. You can't just be happy for him. Why? Because you broke up. That's your ex. Nobody's giving you a divorce certificate because of your ex. Now you have these stigmas and things that don't really exist that is creating a world, not only in the world, but in the church as well, that is not allowing us to have Christian community, to actually build the foundation to create kingdom relationships. So I just feel like the prolonged dating culture is just destroying marriages.
You want to go for it? Yeah.
I would say that, well, back in the day when our parents were getting married and doing courtship and all of that, like I feel like these days we've put our happiness before marriage. A lot of people, social media has made it so common that they'll tell you, oh, if you're not happy in your marriage, then your marriage, something is missing from your marriage. People think that happiness is what, when you're always happy, it means your marriage is working. But that's a very big lie. If you have a brother or a sister, are you always happy with the person? If you think about it, your parents, are you guys always cordial, happy, making each other happy? No, you guys have misunderstandings. You guys fight. You guys have troubles in your relationship with your friends, with your sister. But people feel like you have to be always happy. But that's a lie of the devil. I'm not saying that you won't be happy, but it's how you walk through your arguments with your partner. Back in the day, our parents would have arguments and they would see it as oh my God, I'm depressed. My husband puts me down. He's not, so I think I need to leave my husband. So that happiness thing that the social media has made people feel like, oh, you need to be happy unless your marriage is missing, something missing in your marriage. I don't think it's the truth, because God has given us the grace to walk through marriage. It's not going to be rosy all the time. It's not going to be happy and smiling all the time. God will just give us grace to be able to work out our marriages.
Sorry, my bad. I thought you were going for it. Honestly, what everybody has said is nothing but the truth. But I just want to add to it, and I'm thinking you're also talking about the Z generation, because I'm also part of people, and I think one of the things that contributes to falling marriages right now is civilization, which includes social media, like she said. In those days, there's no too much phone. When we get married, we don't still expose ourselves to post picture or connect with people. I think that's awoken a lot of people. So they see marriage as something that they have to show people, and not knowing there's something they have to work in to address. So I think civilization in Haiti has really, really messed up a lot also.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like I was going to mention, I feel like social media, because 10, 20 years ago, it wasn't as big as it is now. And also just like economical things are going on. Like the COVID, like recession, like inflation, I feel like a lot of guys want to make sure they're financially stable before getting into a relationship, or like, and because of the things going on right now, like inflation or losing jobs, whatever the case may be, may make it harder for them to even want to step into that. And even for some women as well, I feel like we're all in the phase where like, oh, we need to be independent, I can take care of myself, and it's like they don't want to add another person to their life until they're where they want to be. But one thing I'll say is sometimes you need to attach yourself to the person that God has for you to even get to that level that he has for you. I feel like a lot of people think, well, I must have making at least 90K before I get married or this or that, but it's like you don't know that the person that God may have for you may take you to the next level. So that's my answer to that.
Let's put our hands together for them. So I have a question also for the panelists and for everybody here. Do we think human evolution is also a part of this issue we're talking about? Because the whole technology, the whole generations, X, Z, millennials and whatnot, each one of these are indicators of human evolution, right? And as we evolve, our characters, our values, they evolve as well. Do we think that is a part of the issue he's raising? And if yes, how far or where do we think this is going to lead us in the next, what, century? In the next 100 years?
If you would.
Yeah.
So, I think yes. Yes, I totally agree. It's also, which is one of the things I actually mentioned. Remember, the Bible says, do not conform to the word, but be renewed by the word of God. So the word standard is not actually what our standards is as a Christian. And it's interesting why we have to say this, because we also, while growing up, we always hear this, and it looks like they're preaching to us. Because that's just the legit way, because it's only God. We have to make God the triangle. It's not the world standard. It's not our own. What we see is not the transformation of the technology. It's not the cloud base. It's not the IT base. It's not the best Gucci outfits that is out there, or the traveling you're doing. Is actually your own connection with your spouse and God. So what that makes it a triangle. So both of you are working from both parts. The husband is walking up, the wife is walking up to meet God, which is the center of the gravity.
Yeah, I agree with like what Boye said, but also I feel that a lot of people, I feel that it's a mindset thing. I feel it doesn't matter that we're evolving as people in the world. Us as believers, I feel like it's a mindset thing. One, you should be basing your relationship and foundations as believers off of what the word says. And then also, I feel like a lot of times people have better blueprints than others. Some people come from a home that has a good family, good marriage. So I feel like it instills into them that kind of same philosophy. So they're able to carry it from one generation to the next compared to certain others. Other people end up finding their own views from the world and then mixing that into their own philosophies. And then that's where a lot of problems end up happening as well too. So.
So, to a large extent, I think I would agree with Michael. So whether we like it or not, things are going to evolve. There are going to be technological changes. So I think as humans, as Christians, we just need to pick the positives out of whatever is evolving. Things are going to keep changing whether we like it or not. So, and just, to add more to what Michael said, I think our orientation also matters. The way we grew up, what kind of house we came from, what we saw our parents doing, while we were growing up. I think that also has a key role to play in how we eventually turn out to be by the time we get to that level. Yeah.
I think that that was very, very, very like true what you guys said. But nowadays there's millennials, like technology, there's Tinder, Fish, what do you call that app again? Plenty of Fish, POF, Hinge. So it's made it so like technology is to connect humans, right? Make everything easier, seamlessly. Like I want to send a photo to my sister. Here you go. Back in the days, in the 40s, 50s. Men who go to war, women who stay home, you know, and then the men come back, they build a house with their hands, they get married, whatever they have to work out, they work it out. The woman stays home and be a woman and just raise kids, and all she does. So now, as time goes on, yeah, technology is good, but it's also bad where it makes it ease of access like too easy. Back in the day, you want to go on a date and court a girl, you call on a landline. You know, you don't know who's on the other end. You pick up the phone. You're like, hey, what's up, girl? I met you like 2 weeks ago. Oh, hey, you want to go on a coffee date? Sure. Now you can just open the text. You're like, nope, because you have options. So it's just dilutes everything. And then there's so many options. It's a whole mess. So I feel like we should try and go back to individually how our parents, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, like, did that process and continue that. You know, a man be a man, a woman be submissive to the man, not the other way around. Like, girl, oh, be independent. You got this, girl. Okay, good luck. You get older, you figure out you need a man to fix a light bulb. You know, so it's kind of like messed up, but as long as the mindset is right and God is first, you can think about the right way to, you know yourself, be happy with yourself, then find someone that has the same level or almost same level as mindset as you have, same values, then you guys can like agree and, you know, move on. And everything else in social media space is all distraction. So.
Could I, sorry. The reason why I asked my original question was because of that. The real reason I'm here at this moment is because I am trying to work on a dating app to fix this issue, but I need to know the core problem. Is dating apps the problem because of progression, or is it the solution and our mindsets are the problem?
Okay, so, all right, so I want to say something real quick. So how it has worked for me, I won't say what hasn't worked. When I wanted to get married, I thought to myself, I cannot survive a bad marriage. Like my emotions, I can't afford it. So what I would say is that the original thing is to go to God, because He instituted marriage. He made marriage. The dating apps, that's the world thing, like they're talking evolution. But when you go back to God, He's a good Father. Ask Him, Lord, I desire to get married. You asked us to get married, so give me someone that can complement that work You've put in me. So it goes back to God. And you don't have to be a prayer, just ask God. He's a loving Father. Ask Him, God, I want to get married. Give me someone, and He will bring that person your way. That's the only thing I can say. Dating app, fine. I don't know, I've not done it before, but what I tried that worked is God.
Yeah. You got something to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
And is it on?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I think just kind of piggybacking on what both of you are saying is standard. Our standards have changed. If you look at it, technology is not the problem. It's the standards that you're bringing into the technology that's the problem. Our moral barometer, how we measure things has changed. So right now you have people measuring someone's ability to be compatible in marriage based on bank account first, how somebody is in bed. Does this person like the same hobbies that I have, and all that kind of stuff. It's very trivial things. We get to the heart of the matter a lot of the times in the fights in marriage or right before you get married. So we have a lot of standards that are not, as Christians, godly standards. So what's happening is that you have, the reason why what's happening in the world and all their problems are coming into the church. I don't know if you guys know the divorce rate in the church is the same as the world. Part of what's causing that is that the standards in church are matching up with the world now. Our standards don't change. Their technology, God ain't scared of that. Technology done been around. He's never, evolving people never scared Him. The only thing that He told us to not do is become conform to the, like my brother said, conform to the pattern of this world. I think that's really where the nucleus of the problem is. If you have a lot of people with a Christian mindset inside a Christian dating app or inside a church or whatever, it will produce a godly result because the hearts are right. Because the standards are in the same place. But if the standards are already off, then it doesn't matter who you put inside that dating app, or if they're outside of the dating app, it's still the same process. So I think dating apps to me are not bad. I have a friend who got married and she has a wonderful marriage, and she got married off of a dating app. And I've seen people just destroy their lives with that thing. I think it has to do with...
Just to add to what she's saying, I'm sorry to cut you, because I'm a testimony to that. So I also believe dating app is not wrong, but the standard is what is important. If you check the people still on this podium right now, we're still talking about the same thing, which is this God, which is the center of gravity. You know, again, I'm also, it's funny for me also because I'm getting to realize it, because I listen to different tons of people saying the same thing. God is the person that is going to make you married. Even growing up, I hear it every time, but now everything is making sense to me because I know that's the only way it could work. So, like I said again, we can't conform to this world because the start of Christianity is different. Our standard is different. It's the Bible we're following. Whatever the Bible is stating is what we are supposed to do, not what the world is saying, not what Elon Musk is saying, not what Microsoft is saying. So I met my wife on Instagram, so I can't say technology is not good because it works for me. But here is the deal. I'm keeping it because, here is the deal. I'm still in need because there is a center of gravity that I'm focusing on, which is God.
Right. All right. So let's put our hands together for all our panelists. A wonderful response. Here's going to be the contribution I will make to this. I think the points or the idea everybody made goes back to the fact that it doesn't matter what the evolution speed or the evolution steps are. It's all about the soul inside of us, the human, the fundamental. The first part that God recognizes or associates with inside of us. I think, though, the reason why we see a lot more of the worldly characteristics prevail even in godly marriages, this is my opinion, is because before now, and I hope things are changing now, but before now, folks that are Christians or kingdom folks do not get involved with issues that affect the society. For example, the dating app, technology, you hardly find folks that get into these endeavors with the mindset of Christ's morality or any form of decency in it, right? For the most part, there's a problem and this is a solution to solve the problem. That is how technologies are mostly built, right? Say dating app, for example. I promise you, the folk that the person that developed Tinder at its infant stage did not think, let me develop a godly dating app. It was, how, perhaps, I thought they said the person had a relationship issue, they broke up or something, and that's how they figured out, you know what, why don't I just have a cloud app where a lot of single folks can be in, and then we can just connect. So you see, the roots of that technology itself has nothing to do with morality or God or any standard, like she rightly said. And the devil has a way of picking that up, making it his own game, and then playing it against us. Trust me, for all of us sitting down here, it's for the grace of God that we are here, we are able to talk about morals. Human beings, we naturally go for what's best for us, what we enjoy, what we like. And the devil understands this very well, and that's why you see they sell this. So I think, back to your original question, one of the solutions I think would help fix the way marriages are going now is for people that actually believe in marriage and have the marital value that aligns with the Bible to be voices and be outspoken to things about marriage from technology perspective, from even education perspective, And just from being a human perspective, just be a human. Do not go into marriage the same way you will go into a business. Like, marriage is not for profit. I go into a business because I'm saying, hey, if I work 10 years for this business, I should become a millionaire. Marriage is not like that. You don't go into marriage saying, hey, if I marry this girl or this boy for the next 10 years, I should become a millionaire. Someone told me something when I was about to get married. The person was like, marriage is a business between two givers and two forgivers. He said, you give, you forgive, you give, you forgive, you give, you forgive. He was like, that's marriage. So if you are not willing to give and forgive, now understand that these 2 points I make, you are not receiving anything from those. You are giving, you are forgiving, you are giving, and it's expected the other person is also giving and forgiving. And then both of you would complement each other. So that's, I'll say that's just my little contribution to your question. Okay, I think we will try to moderate this, right, so that we'll be able to manage time. And we are going to give each question about 7 minutes. Okay, we will let the panelists, they all go through, they'll give us one, they'll go through their opinions once, and then we'll see if anybody has a contribution to make from the floor. Does that work? Yeah. Okay, you have a question, ma'am?
It wasn't a question, it was a comment, but it's past, so we can just move on.
Okay, does any other person have a question? Sure.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hey. I have lots of questions because I like hearing about this, but I'll just ask one. So, what's one thing that marriage has shown you about yourself that you didn't know about yourself before you were married, good and bad? And for the bad, how have you started working on that? Or what have you done to work on it?
Oh, that's a lovely question. Thank you. I mean, prior to getting married, I feel like I've always trained myself for this moment. This is one thing I trained myself for. I didn't pre-prepare myself for my job. I didn't pre-prepare myself for education. I think I pre-prepared myself for marriage. So coming into marriage, I felt like, I was like the perfect being. Even though I took my time, I didn't take my time. God took his time for me before I could find my husband, because left to me, I was there to marry at 21. So, yeah. So, marrying my husband, to be honest, it taught me a lot of things, because he is very different and similar to me in many ways. My husband is a very forgiving person, and he gives grace to anybody, and that's something that I do not have. Like, anybody offends me, wow, you offend me, that's it, I'm cutting you off. Like, that's it. Like, that's it for me. Like, I don't want to know who you are. I don't want to, that's it. And then we struggled. We did. I won't say struggle we were like a fight, but I struggled within me, knowing that he's the kind of a person, because I'll tell him, you imagine this girl in church, or as an example, this girl in church offended me, and she's this, she's that, I cannot talk to her again, she should not even come near me because I'm going to give it to her. And he'll just look at me, babe, give her grace. Maybe this is what happened, and he will give 10,000 reasons why she behaved like that, and that thing is to annoy me. It aggravates me. I'm like, are you supporting her? You're supporting her instead of me, your wife? Do you even know her? Okay, now she's your wife now, right? It will rile me up. I would get so angry, and I'm like, but it's a good thing. I'm like, for him, it gives him peace of mind. Nobody can offend him, not even me. The only way I can offend him is when he's trying. If I offend him, you sit in his face. He's about to cry. That is how I know that I have pushed this man. He doesn't get offended. So that thing used to piss me off. I'm like, how can you? Can I tell you? And I'm legit correct. This person actually did. If you hear the story, you guys will be on my side. But my husband is gonna give me 10,000 and that thing will aggravate me. I'll even call my sister. My sister will say, "Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're right." I was I'm like, you see, that means I'll call my mom. My mom will not. My mom's never going to support me. She's always going to take my co-side. So like, just forget about it. Like, I'm trying to get other people's opinion. And that really taught me a lot because it just gives me peace of mind. When I'm at work, like you said, that's one of my pet peeves, my work people. And and I'll come home and like, this person did this. And I'm like, babe, give them grace. Give them grace. And that thing started to, I'm not saying I'm completely now like him because God help me, I can be completely like him. But I'm saying like it has helped me in my place of work. It has helped me with my friends. Like I'm now a little more accommodating. So that's one thing that really resonates, that has really helped me in my marriage.
Okay, all right. So for me, before I got married, normally I'm kind of person that if you hurt me, I'll forgive you, but I'll take it in, and I'll be hurting. So when I met my husband, he's always he speaks for me. So he knows me that I'm hurting. Like, why don't you tell that person? I'm like, no. And then he will go do it on my behalf. I'm like, this is what you did to her. She doesn't like it. So from him, I've learned to speak now. Because if you hurt me, I can take it. But I don't want to hurt you. I don't want you to feel bad. But if that person hurt you, let them know. So now I've learned to speak now and not take it in again. And then, what's the other question? What's the second one? About what you know you know before.
Answered it. Or how did you work through it? What was the good things and bad things?
The good things. So the good thing is that I'm a very caring person. I like caring for everybody, for my siblings to a fault. So, and it's the kind of person that he likes to receive care. So it's like it works. So I give the care. He enjoys it. So I'll be more caring. Let me put it that way.
Okay. Let me just quickly say something about what I've really, really enjoyed in my marriage. And I've learned so much from my wife, despite the fact that I'm older than her. I think growing up, our background is quite different. She's the type of person that talks to her mom. She discusses everything with her mom. For me, I lost my mom when I was very young. So I pretty much grew up by myself. I did a lot of things by myself. So, and that shaped me into a form that I can just decide to do anything. I'll say, okay, I don't want to do this thing, and nobody can tell me what to do, except maybe obviously my brother and my siblings. But when I got married, I saw the other side of me that I didn't even know about. And, I had this issue of anger. I need to feel that I just get angry. And my wife always knows how to work it out with me. And there is one thing I really, really learned from her. Anytime we have any issue, we don't go to bed without talking about it. We have to talk about it before we go to bed. And even in the middle of the night, she wakes me up and says, can you talk now? And I will say, okay, what do you want to talk about? And she says, okay, what happened earlier in the day? And we'll talk about it. And at some point, I discovered that even the anger issue, I no longer have it again. Sometimes she just tells me that, oh, you know what? I'm even surprised that on a good day you'd have flared up, and now you are even changing. She gives me the accolade. She kind of encourages me, like, you are not the person you used to be 10 years ago. So I really, really appreciate that about my wife, and that's something I really learned, from my wife, being married to my wife.
So for me, sorry, brother. I think one thing that I do really good, if I got your question right, that God has blessed me with is my faith, like my strong faith. I always believe that everything's going to work out for my good. I believe that everything that I want in life, that I believe is in line with God's will for my life, I'm going to receive, I'm going to have. I told God I'm going to be married by 26. He did it. It's not even like I was like, oh, I need to be married, but just like I see the way I want my life to go, and God has been doing it for me. Even if he makes the route a little longer or a little uglier, like he still does it for me. And I always use that to like know that everything's going to be okay. He's done it before, so everything's going to be good. And I thank God for that trait because I see how it's really helped in my marriage, because sometimes not that my husband doesn't have faith, but some things will weigh on him more. And I thank God for giving me that strength of having faith in things, because I can now encourage him. So that's one thing. One thing that I thought, or I didn't know was a problem, was my patience. I thought I was really patient, and I'm really not. Little things like I'll spark or whatever, and the way that I'm working on that is there's a place in the Bible where it says like seek peace and pursue it. So anytime like I want to, like maybe I'm getting impatient about something or something I don't like and I want to nag about it or whatever the case is, like I'm like, okay, no, the Bible says seek peace and pursue it. So whatever is not going to keep peace in my house, I might as well just leave it alone. And then another thing is like me giving grace to my husband. Like if he grew up and he never liked to put his clothes away, I can't expect like overnight he's going to be putting his clothes away every day. So like just extending grace in little areas that maybe for me I don't like, but it's like, you know, you just have to extend grace. So, yeah.
I feel like for me, what I learned was to be more sensitive. I felt like she said, I'm really good at giving people grace, and I'm very forgiving. But when you are married, it can come off insensitive at times. So I feel like in the beginning, like we definitely had some, I'll say, growing pains with me trying to be like, no, like don't let that person offend you. Like I feel like being offended isn't a good thing, right? So I feel like if I'm telling her not to be offended, she should be taking it good, but she's seeing it from a different way, and it could come off insensitive or I'm not supporting my wife. So I feel like what I've learned is to have wisdom on how to balance it, trying to pick and choose. Okay, she's offended, I could kind of understand, so I'll let this one, yeah, I'm on your side, yeah, she was wrong for what she did to you. But then if it's something else, I'll be like, okay, I'll kind of agree in the beginning and then try to like give a different point of view instead of making it seem like I'm just wholeheartedly defending that person, like, oh no, that person didn't do anything wrong to you. So I feel like being more sensitive to her feelings about certain things is something that I've grown in for sure.
For me, I think for what I've learned for bad and that has now translated to good right now is me initially not knowing that my culture is different from the culture of the person I'm married, because I didn't get it earlier on in the stage of our marriage. So it's always like I'm saying this, she's thinking about this, and it's later on in the process I understand that we are actually of different culture and we have to find a balance. And so I learned about that in a bad way or in a sad way, but later now it's something of good. Like you said, because people that are actually married to someone that is born here and you're back home, you can understand how, because you have an ideology, and the ideology also here. I'll give you an example. Just the way we call in Nigeria, we call, if you want to buy petrol, we call it petrol. Here is gas. So the ideology is different. Everything you say is different. The college, university is different. So I had to learn that we're of different culture. That's number one. For good is the fact that I know that we are actually team player, that we can do things faster. Things go smoothly because we're two. We travel together. We do this together. Something I can't buy easily because we're two now. It makes everything skyrocket. So that's one thing I appreciate about marriage. And if I'm going here, they'll be asking, where's Mandy? If she's going here, so knowing that we're a team always make me happy that there's someone I can fall back to, that I can lean on.
And I hope this encourages, especially the single women in the room, and it can encourage the men as well. I used to think if I had a man that loved me and could appreciate who I was on the inside and would treat me well in a marriage, somehow I would be fulfilled. Because I used to struggle with self-esteem issues and just feeling loved and things like that. And I just thought, oh, if I just get a really good husband who can love me and love the Lord and all these things, then everything that's wrong in my life will correct itself, because the only things I'm missing is in this area. And then God blessed me with that. A man that called me beautiful every day, that encourages me, he is probably the most gentle soul I know. And so kind, so nice. We don't fight. Everything is great. But I realized something. Even with all that, I still had that emptiness. I was just like, what? And God let me know this very clearly in my marriage. If I'm not there, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it without me. And I didn't know that. I used to think if God blessed me with it, then it should fulfill because God blessed me with it. No, he blesses himself inside things. And once you remove him out, then everything else crumbles. And I didn't know that until God blessed me with a good man. So I didn't know that about myself, and I've grown. And something good, that's probably like the down side, but still up. And then the other thing I wanted to say was one thing I didn't know about myself that I'm so happy that has come out of marriage is there were a lot of things I believed about myself. I used to think I was someone who is lazy. I was afraid of having children at one point in time because I was thinking, oh my God, I'll leave them at the grocery store and be like, oh, yeah, I did have a baby. Like, no joke. I used to have those kind of things, or think I won't know how to cook, or because I wasn't a cooker growing up and things like that. I was like, oh Lord, I want to be better. Can I remember all my mom's recipes and all this stuff? But it was just so amazing when I got married how that wife and mother, and when I became a mother, just kicked in. And it's like seeing God's faithfulness even in things that I didn't even know to prepare for. You know, marriage, you could read all the books you want to. Your marriage will be different from everybody's. You know, you may find some similarities, but they'll all be different. But you'll be surprised what God prepares you for, even in lessons that don't even come through dating, just come through everyday life. So that's mine.
Yeah. Two things. One thing I got was that Christianity is practical, at least in marriage. I think because a lot of times there's this notion, oh, let's be practical. Like, okay, leave God aside, let's be practical. This is business. But I think in marriage, just getting to see that with God, the way God works, there's something I see, like, we're living in the added life. It's like a lot of people, like, they're getting the 3 jobs to do certain things, and I know this person makes 3 times more than what I make, but we're living in the same neighborhood. It's like God's Christianity works, following God works. And then the other part is that if I expect her to be like me, one of us is going to go crazy. And just getting to that point that this person is different from me and that's not a problem, I think that's something I kind of struggled with. Like, hey, why are you so passionate about, like, with what you were discussing, like, someone just did something to you, why are you so passionate about it? Well, if you were more like me, then you would be a better person. Like, that's a lot of what was going on in my head. But just getting to that point that, hey, God made you different for a reason, and that's good. And just so, in different situations, it's like, hey, this is more your thing. So, someone is coming, like, hey, I need you, because she's always like, oh, let me go do my makeup. Hey, you're better at entertaining people. You have that connection side. That's also the same side that allows you to hurt deeper when you do something. Because you care, when they do something that hurts, you hurt more. So now, if I try to kill that side, then we're both not going to connect. So just getting to that point of, hey, we're different and that's good. You just have to figure out how to make it work then.
Awesome. Does anyone have any contribution they want to make from the audience? Okay.
There's a mic here. I guess for me, what I learned from marriage, I've been married almost 9 years now. And like for me, a big lesson I learned from my wife is communication. You can never have enough communication. We call each other when we used to go to work. Even when I was coming back, how to plan things, pick up one child, but now there's 2 now. Sitting down and planning. We incorporated calendars because you can't remember everything. So just being a better communicator, not just with ourselves, but with family members. And for me personally is patience. I'm not the most patient person, you know, because I've had to hustle. So I want things done in a certain way, and just granting people grace. You know, when I used to live with my uncle used to always used to tell me then that, you know, there'll be a lot of things that you would do that you don't want to do, but you have to do. And I understand what he meant by some of those statements now, because, you know, you're not just marrying your spouse, you're marrying into their family. And good thing I like my in-laws, because I can imagine, you know, just interact, patience, man, because, you know, my wife is the most patient person. Certain things tick me off. I like certain things to be done a certain way, and just to have patience with dealing with people, family members, how to play good and bad cop. You know, not everything you have to voice out. If somebody does something to you, you can have intermediaries that, okay, who's going to say this? How do we say this? Okay, you say this, I say this, then we'll go from there. So that's all.
Awesome, thank you. Sister Faith wants to say something too.
Nice, I want to say something. What have I learned? Okay. So I was single for a very long time. So I've always been on my own. I'm used to being on my own. I take care of things on my own. I've been on my own since I was 17, since I was young. So I took care of myself. I never needed a man. That's this thing. So what I learned with him was to understand that someone wants to take care of me. So I learned to accept things, money-wise too, because I was alone. I needed to make sure that, you know, I was always comfortable, don't spend this much. And he wants to spend everything just on me. So it's something I learned that just say yes. Something I always say is, man, I want to be a kept wife. I don't want to be a housewife. I want to be a kept wife. So you're taking, and he's doing a great job of letting me know that I can just let be and let him take control.
Yes, so that's why I wear one shirt to church, everybody, every Sunday. That's why I don't change my shirts, because I'm spending the money somewhere. But awesome response. Please, let's put our hands together for ourselves. Does any other person have a question? And again, questions can also come from here if we have. Yes, ma'am. Oh, no, I'm good.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
How are y'all?
Good.
All right. So I am going to ask some very touchy questions. No, it is not shade to this wonderful man of God here, just so we know. I may have a question that might be on somebody else's heart. So, for starters, we live in a world, we talked about evolution and social media and so on and so forth. We live in a world that apparently you're perfect if you have the flat stomach, the big behind, everything that just looks like, right? Yeah. Social media will present itself and then you go pay for it, then that's your business. If you can do it, bless God, all right? So what do we do if I feel like it's okay to give constructive criticism. How do you explain to your spouse that this is what you would like to see from them without hurting them? And if they did hurt you with something that they said, how do you know whether to fight or flight? Sometimes there are things we can control, and then there are things that we can't. So how do we know whether to fight or flight, and how not to hold on to something that someone says that hurts us, especially when it's someone you love most?
That's a very sensitive question.
Sorry about that.
So, yeah, it's okay. So I think it all falls back to communication. So I think if you've been married for a while, I think at some point you will get to know your spouse to a large extent. Like my wife, for instance, I know the kind of stuffs that she doesn't like. I know stuff that I can say to her that can get her upset. But I still look for a way to, if I need to say them, I still look for a way to bring those topics in without upsetting her. So, and that's only possible because I kind of understand that threshold. I know when to bring those type of topics. You know, without a doubt, you know, unless we don't want to be objective, if you tell a lady she's adding weight, no lady likes that. You know, we have to be honest. You know, if you tell your wife, oh, you're adding weight, oh, she's not going to like it. Even though she doesn't say anything about it, deep down, in a quiet moment, she's going to think about it. She's going to be like, am I no longer, you know, is this guy no longer finding me fancy or something like that? But I think you need to understand your spouse, and you need to know that threshold. You know, if it's taking her out on a date just because you just want to pass a message across, please do it. But to be honest with you, you know, I think it's different for everybody. Ladies don't like certain, I'm going to be honest, even no matter how you say it sometimes, your wife still finds it offensive when you tell her she's adding weight. Oh, you need to watch what you eat, you need to do this, you need to do that. But it's just finding that balance and threshold, and that also, you know, comes with communication as well.
Okay, so you asked the question that what if that person you love tells you something, how to take it in, like if you're feeling hurt. So what I do in my own case is, my husband always, he looks out for me, but the way he says it sometimes, because he's passionate about it, I'm very sensitive when it comes to him. So when he says something, what I always do to him, like, I will hear what he said, then I will go back, and I'll be like, I heard what you said, but can you next time say it in this tone, lower the tempo, and so that way, so that I won't feel hurt. So he'll be like, so he will hear me, he won't say it, he'll take it in, and the next time I will see him making an attempt of, when he's coming back, taking that correction, I'll see him trying to, like, you know, I'll not commend him and say, I noticed you took what I said, and I noticed you're taking action. Thank you for doing that. So that way, he will do it again the way I want it, so I can get a message. So what I do is that if he says in the way that I know what he's saying makes sense, but the way I'm hearing is annoying me, I'll go back and say, okay, I heard what you said, but can you say it in this way next time? And when he comes back and makes an attempt, because it's hard for him to do that because he's not used to it, I will comment, okay, I like what you said, so that he can continue to say things to me that wants to correct me, but in a way that I can hear that it's offending me.
And that's part of what I said earlier that I learned from my wife, you know, how to communicate better. You understand? So it's not my fault. It's the way I grew up, the way, like Boye said earlier, our orientation is different.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to tell you, I want to tell you, I want you to get the message.
Yeah,
So I believe if I buy you flowers before telling you, you won't get the message. So she wants me to buy flowers when I'm coming from work and present the flowers and say, hey, darling, please, can you do this? And unfortunately, I'm trying to. It's not my thing. I wasn't brought up that way. Yeah. But I'm trying, you know, I'm getting better as we progress in the marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I go ahead?
If you don't mind, you want to say something? You want to say?
Sure.
I wanted to say something.
Oh, okay.
I've been raising my hand for a while.
Oh, good.
Okay, what I want to say is this. Communication is very important. And also, what?
That's it. No, that's it.
Oh, okay, it's very important. And also, remember when you're married, you're on the same team. I think people tend to forget that. It's either you win together or you lose together. There are no winners or losers. You either both win or you both lose. And also, when you want to tell somebody something, you have to communicate in a language they understand. Not necessarily your own love language, but your husband or your wife's love language. And also, if you want to tell me, oh, you did this or something, give the feedback, but also follow up. Let's do this together. You know, not just, oh, you're this, you're that. No. Communicate with them and also back it up with actual, you know, facts. For example, to the grace of God, my husband and I, we have 2 kids. So the very first time I got pregnant, like, look, I'm pregnant with your child. So when I have this baby, I want the best personal trainer, and you're going to pay for everything. But guess what he did? So things like that, you know, you give the comment, but also support it as they're doing it. Okay, babe, it's like, you have a little bit more love handles, I like it, but can we start walking together? And it's how you say, not what you're saying. So pay attention to those details in your spouse. And I cannot overemphasize communication. Always read the room. When your wife comes in, she's all bubbly and happy. Don't go and tell her, oh, it's like you added weight. She doesn't want to hear it. And trust me, men, listen please. If your wife has added weight, she knows. I promise you, you don't need to tell her. It's like you're business a dead because she can see it in the. I'm not even kidding. We know, but you just have a way. You know what? Let's go for a walk today. Or what are you doing? Let's go play tennis or something. So things is how you say what you say, not necessarily how you say it. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
That's awesome. I was going to say that my own case is different because in my family, when you add weight, everybody says it. Like even everybody says, "Oh, look at you, you're gaining weight. What is this? Stop eating, stop eating. You're eating. Let's see your stomach." Like everybody just insults you until you like go and lose weight. So I'm used to that. Like people even start to yell at you that you think that come on now, it's just weight. Now why are you screaming at me? Like so, like I can go to my mom's house and be like, see your stomach. You're acting with see your cheeks. It's not good. Yeah, reduce it. Like that kind of thing. So I was used to that. Meeting my husband, like he was like. Okay, so like when I met him, it was a little bit trimmer. I'm not saying it was skinnier than this, but it was trimmer than this. And so like, and then because of how I am, even when I talk to my sister, you think we're fighting. Like you'll be like, my husband. It took him a while to like understand that I'm very passionate about how I speak. And then I was like, what is this? You're getting me. Look at your stomach. Stop! Like I yelled at him. This particular day, just the way I do to my siblings and everybody, I'm like, can't lose your way. Like, what are you eating? This chicken that you're eating is a problem. These wings, and like, I just said it so casually, like I was talking to my sibling or my parents or somebody, and then he just withdrew completely. I didn't even know what I did, and it was in the night, and I just saw that he was just quiet, and I was like, oh, what happened? Like. I was like, what happened? Like, in my mind, I was like, okay, like, I just told you the truth. Why are you angry? Like, in my mind. And then it was like, babe, you know, there's a way to say something. How can you, don't, if I was not someone that is understanding and forgiving, if you said this to someone else, the person can actually break down. And I was like, wait, that offended you? I'm sorry. Like, it took me a while to understand that telling my husband that he's gaining weight, like the way I say, because you can tell someone you're gaining weight without actually saying in an offensive manner. Like it took me a while to understand that because of how I grew up. So it takes wisdom, like my husband always says, wisdom. No matter what, even if that person is your husband, you've been together for 20 years, you still need wisdom to speak to them.
If you don't mind, I would also like to. You guys want to go?
No, I said yes. I was agreeing to what she said.
Go?
No.
You're not always going to get what you want from your spouse. And I think, so for me, I think some of that goes to prayer. Because if you make a request from your spouse and they can't say no, that's not a request. That's a command. That's you trying to manipulate or abuse somebody. And an example we had, so growing up, our dad always goes to wash the car every Sunday. And then she came and she's like, oh, yeah, it's Sunday. Like, yeah, it's Sunday. I'm going to church. But my dad always, yeah, I'm not your dad. Like, it's, now, eventually, like 4 years later, like a car wash opened and they had a good sale on unlimited car wash. I'm like, oh, okay, it's cheap. Did it. So now she's getting it, but it wasn't, you can't always get what you want. So I think some of that just goes to, hey, this desire I want one-on-one with God, is this a desire from God? One. If it is from God, then ask Him. Because if you don't do that, there are things that you're going to find yourself doing, which is going to be just trying to manipulate, trying to hint at it. You've asked, and then you didn't get it. Now you're going to start hinting, start leaving notes, start doing things that are not of God to try and get it. So I think first is that desire from God? If it is, ask Him. Always make a request, communication, but if the answer is no, then go back to God because He's the one that's ultimately, the hearts of kings and queens are in His hand.
Yes, and just to piggyback on that story background, one thing God convicted me during that same time that was happening in the background, that's why prayer is very important, is that as much as I was irritated that my car wasn't looking the way I wanted to, God said, at least your marriage is not dirty. Your car may be, but your marriage is not. And that car looked really clean immediately after that. I didn't care whether my son's crackers were all over the place and bags and stuff. I didn't care. I was like, thank you, Jesus. I needed to know that, because sometimes we major on the minors and minor on the majors, like you say, and it's not worth the life of your marriage for something that is not that crucial at the moment. It can be solved over time. So, yeah.
I also want to add this to it, because it's also important from the husband side to know that sometimes what you get also you can have it back. It's important to know that there's going to be at a point in a woman's life you're going to give birth and the weight is going to change. If you don't recognize that, you're going to throw yourself to a lot of dish. So you have to understand that that stage of life is going to come. Now, facing that stage of life, how do you approach it? Is what my sisters say, communication and helping. I'll give you an example. I don't like gymming, and if I get to my work, they will say, do you gym? I say, I don't gym, I'm an African man. Now, I don't gym, I'm an African man, I'm fit, I don't have any fat to burn. They will say you have to work because you need your heart to do it, but I understand. But here is what it is, right? Anytime Mandy is working out, she's trying to do it, she has not given birth yet too. She's working out, doing all that, I will say, oh, good job, Joe. Let's work out today. Let's go out today. Even though I don't need it, but I'll still follow her to encourage her. In my mind, I know that I don't need it. But what am I saying? I'm just trying to say, because everybody needs exercise. What I'm trying to say is it's important to know that as husband, because I want to talk from the husband side now, that the face is going to change. It is definitely going to change, and you have to be able to support and manage it. Even if you don't have what you get, like you don't, what's the word you use again? You can't get what you. I don't know.
Don't worry, we get it.
Yeah, like you can't get it again. Just know that you have to support and do everything to appreciate her.
Yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I feel like, communication is definitely very important when it comes to like talking about a woman's body or a man's body, or maybe you know what you like, or maybe they were a certain way when you guys started dating and you start to change. I think it's just really important to communicate it in a way that they understand, like a lot of people have been saying. But I also think it's important for you guys to like come to an agreement. So if like, for me, I know the way I look, the way I used to look, the way I want to look. If Boya says something about me, I'm probably gonna be like, well, I look fine anyways. I like my stomach or whatever, just to make myself feel good. But I'll probably go back and like now, maybe a lot of you guys see me, I'm trying to work out like 5 days a week now and stuff. But I'm doing it for myself because I want to feel good about myself. I want to look good and look back and be like, okay, I did this for myself. So I feel like if maybe your spouse, or if you were to be like, oh, Mandy, I think you really do need to watch your weight, or whatever the case would be. What if the woman actually likes the way she looks? So I think it's really important to communicate like, okay. And I also think it is important to try to please your spouse in a way that's still like you compromise, because if you looked a certain way and then you completely change, like you have to know that, physical attraction is a thing, So I feel like if you guys can come to agreement, like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to lose like 5 pounds. Can you help me though? I need your help. I need your support. Like if you want me to look differently, I need you to support me. I need you to help me. I need you to say it with love, So I just think it's important to communicate how you guys want to make that work, and kind of go from there. And just make sure you keep God in the center of all of that.
So I guess I'm the last. But to really, I guess, round up what everybody's saying is that the 3 main things is communication, support, and understanding. If you can't communicate your actual need for somebody to look a certain way and have an agreement, then it's not going to match up. And then if you don't actually support, okay, hey, let's go to the gym, let's go do this, let's go do that, and actually try to balance out each other's needs. Because one thing that I've noticed is that, and on the women's side too, is that, hey, can you go look like Idris Elba? Can you go look like Michael B. Jordan? And then you kind of look, and then we're kind of looking like, hey, can you go look like this person or that person, this Instagram model, that Instagram model? I'm like, if you're wanting me to look this certain way, then that means you also have to be in the same footing to look like this. And I think what people don't understand is that the way I met you is the way I met you for a reason. You don't necessarily have to change because you're starting to see that social media is now influencing how people are looking. And I feel like that's really the big problem with like nowadays, is that people are just seeing all these Instagram models and all these people, and they're like, hey, I want you to look a certain way. But really upstairs, they don't have anything that's supporting or that's interesting or that's foundational that you can actually work and use and be in a good actual relationship. Because it's not about the weight. It's about something else. There's a deeper problem than the weight or than how somebody looks. And that's, I think, a conversation that y'all probably have, if that is the actual crux of the problem.
I'm sorry. The third thing, mindset. 3 things. Mindset. I think mindset is very, very important. I'm sorry to cut you off. That's a big thing for both parties. If they come from a good mindset, they work on each other to develop like a healthy mindset. First, God. Then when you communicate, it makes it easier, because if you're in a good state of mind, you don't get offensive easily. Like if, for example, I give you like $100,000 in cash, and I'm like, oh, you want to go out or you want to do something? Oh, you want to? Yeah, you're down for that, because you just, you euphoric. Someone's giving you a large sum of cash. So the mindset is very important, I believe, in the marriage from both parties, and each person, man and woman, are responsible for their own mindset. God first. Maybe do your prayer in the morning or whatever it is to get your mindset right to start the day. It makes it easier. Everything which you fall in place. You won't get offensive so easily. Or if you go out and someone talks to your girl in a different way and whatnot, you can always communicate and, to come to a better resolution. It all boils down to the mindset, to ask those 3 things you talked about. I think God first and the mindset, then everything else should follow suit, as long as you know what you're doing, what to do under God.
Hi everyone. I want to talk about, I really want to commend my sister and her husband's relationship. I feel like they just give me the chills every time I see them. And I want to talk about the weight thing, because it happened recently. So we went for a conference, and my sister and I were like singing on the altar, and it was like a very big conference. And as we just got down, my dad was like, oh, Betty, you're looking fatter than your sister. Like you've added weight than your sister. Like, this is my daddy. I mean, he has not seen us in a while. So he was just like, oh, Betty is bigger than me. And Michael immediately, his face changed. Like immediately, I just looked at his face and his face changed. And immediately, like Michael was just like, Betty and I, we FaceTime a lot, and I could just like hear in the conversation, I could tell like he wasn't happy about how my parents are just really talking about the fact that Betty has added weight. And his own was just like, I like her like that. She's my wife. I like the way she's added weight, this and that, and that. And one thing I realized in their relationship is that they are team players. They are playing for the same. Like Michael is all about Betty, and Betty is all about Michael. So one of the things I love is that they're team players. They're like on the same team about everything. So I mean, like. When it comes to marriage, and I'm really learning, I mean, I'm not married yet. I want to be by God's grace. I really love marriage. I mean, like, it might be like a fantasy thing, but I really love marriage, and because of the people that have been around me, my parents' marriage, the Akiyemi's marriage, the second Akiyemi and Famorewa's marriage. I mean, like, when I see this type of marriages, they just encourage me, like, yes, there are bad things happening. Social media is making things, like, there are divorces, but there are other marriages that are working. So I just wanted to add that, and it was off topic, but...
Yeah, so I had something with the other one, but there's something you said that I think listen, where there are other marriages around you that are working. Something else, don't look at that marriage, even if it's working, because you don't know what's going on in the house. Because if something happens, that's what you're basing on, and something happens in that marriage, you're like, oh my God, okay, maybe no, nothing is distant. So be personal in your own relationship. Don't look at somebody else's relationship and say, oh, that's the best, I want that. No, you don't know if they're beating them in the house. So please don't do that. So we're talking about how you say something. I lost my train of thoughts. Oh, yes. So before you get married, those difficult conversations, have it. Because yes, you married her at that size. 10 years later, that size is not going to be. He married me as a 00. I'm not a 00 anymore. I can never go back to a 00. It's not possible. So those conversations, we had those conversations. Conversations that I had was, if I cannot give birth for you, what happens? Because these are important things that we need to talk about. If I can't have a child, what happens? Because we know where we come from. That's very important. So like, what do we do? He's like, there's adoption. Those kind of things. So those kind of conversations made me know that, okay, this person it's going to work. And for the gaining weight one, he actually did something. We were in an apartment and we're on the 3rd floor. And coming down the stairs, as skinny as I was, doesn't mean I was healthy. So I will come down and be like, oh my God, that's too much work, that's too much. A week later, he came home and was like, hey babe, so I found this personal trainer. He's coming over tomorrow. I was like, did I ask you? He said, no, there's no need. It's nothing about you. Just, go and talk to him and see where we can go from there. And I said I had a personal trainer from there, and since then I've been trying to make sure to be more healthy. So things like that, you don't have to tell her this. With Zone, me, I said, go and do gym because, hon. So those kind of things, that's it. But those conversations, please have them before you get married. Have it. Write a list of things that you need to know that this man or woman can take, please.
Can I follow up on that too, Sister Faith? So that's something that's really important too, is having that conversation beforehand, because I've already told him, I was like, look, if I'm gonna have children, I need a personal trainer, right? Actually from like 4 months onwards, like, because I know that if I do not get my body back, that God forbid, my enemy would be very sad, So I don't know if you would care or not, you probably would. Like, if my body really changes and I'm really struggling to get myself back, like, I don't want to go through that. So I think it is important to have those conversations beforehand. Like, if we're going to jump into this, what can we do to also make sure we're healthy and good and still happy afterwards? I think that's really important.
Yeah, please let's clap for those wonderful comments. We will be taking one more question for tonight. One more question. But before we go to that question, I want to say this. In everything we say, they say, someone said here that marriage is not 50-50. Like, there's no you win, I lose, and it's 2 winners and 2 losers. What that means is the person expecting something from their spouse, and the spouse you're expecting something from. Both of you should know you would have to work. You have to be willing to put in the work, right? It's true what she said. I saw it. I already had, she didn't say the part where I got in trouble in the first early stage of our relationship, where I said things I shouldn't say. And then I learned from there on. I was like, you know what, I don't have to say it. If I have the money, my money will just say it. I went, I got a personal trainer, right? I never said anything, and she actually enjoyed it. And the other thing I did was, I realized, for me to say stay fit, I can't have a pot belly and ask her to stay fit. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be fit. I'm gonna have the whole 6-pack and everything. And naturally it's going to rub off on her. It's still coming. It's not here yet, it's still coming. But naturally it rubs off on her, because when she sees me going to the gym, she sees me active, working out. When we walk around the compound or we take a walk around the estate, I'm not breathing, I'm not gasping for breath. Like, she's going to see all of that, right? And naturally, when I'm involved in or engaged with these activities, she's naturally going to be a part of that activity. And perhaps I've learned 1 or 2 things down the line that I'll say, you know what, I can actually teach you what you need to do to get that 6-pack. My point is, I put in the work more than I say, right? I just do it. And because I just do it, and because we're always around ourselves, I know I will influence her. If I don't do it, she's eventually also going to influence me, and we'll both have pot bellies. And I'm just trying to reduce the weight, the amount of pot bellies in the house. But everybody has to be willing to put in the work, both the person you're asking from and you asking, as a matter of fact. Like Boy said, I'm naturally skinny. I came from Africa. I don't need. Yeah, there are some people that have that stature. Then that would be unfair of you to be asking someone that came from a family that naturally, at a certain stage in their life, they are naturally going to add weight. There's nothing that person would do that would change that, that would change nature. But amazing responses. Please, let's put our hands together for that. We have one. We are going to take questions again. Okay, Angela has a question. Okay, let's, and I'll come to you, sir. Okay.
So I wanted to ask about friendships in marriage. How do you address to your spouse that a certain friend they have or a certain friend group they have, you think that they should lessen their interaction with them, or you think that it's affecting them in a certain way, whether it be their lifestyle or mindset? How do you address that to your partner? Also, do you think once you get married, you should decrease your interaction with your friends who aren't married?
Especially early on when we got married, that definitely was like a hill to climb. I feel like for me, I'm very friendly. I had a lot of friends in college, especially friends of the opposite sex as well. And my wife, she's not as friendly, so I didn't have to even worry about any of her friends. So for me, I was always running into issues where something with a friend would cause an issue, or maybe she didn't like the way my friend did something. I end up defending my friend, and that would cause an issue as well too. I definitely feel that one, prayer and wisdom is definitely gonna have to come into play, and then also being open to what your partner says in regards to that friend. There's certain things that even though you might have been friends with this person for a while, that your partner's going to see something that you don't. You became comfortable with how that person acts. They just now knowing them, they're going to be uncomfortable if they're in a situation that makes them uncomfortable. So I feel like you as a spouse have to be able to be open to listening and accepting it. And then also using wisdom to go on about how you deal with that friend and how you retract. Because I do feel that your partner comes first. After God, it's your partner. So you have to try to do what you can to make that person feel comfortable. And even the situation was funny is that there's a friend I had for like 10 years. We were great friends. She was a girl too. And the girl did something and it just completely offended Betty. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like one of my day ones. How am I even going to deal with this? But certain things started to happen where she started to do things that just upset me as well too. And it was just like, I don't know if it was Betty's fasting and prayer that caused her to move out of the way or whatnot. But it just ended up where me and her are not even friends at all anymore. And I feel like our relationship has gotten better even because of that. Now, when it comes to the single friends, I have a lot of single friends. So it's tough, I would say. I feel like you said, I feel like you just have to make your spouse comfortable, to be honest. Your spouse comes first. So with those relationships, it's what situations you put yourself in. Like, for instance, guys' trips. All my guy friends, they're all single. So I've already let them know that, guys, if you guys are doing all dudes trips, I can't come. Like, I just can't come because I already know what's going to happen. I already know what they're going to end up setting up. Even the ones that are in relationships, I already know what they're going to do. So I have to use wisdom and not even put myself in a position where temptation will come or something will happen where my wife will be uncomfortable. So I feel like just moving forward, you have to use wisdom and go with how your spouse feels about it, to be honest.
Well, I think it boils back to the fact that you need to respect your partner. Whether we like it or not, there are influences in marriage. Your marriage can be influenced by your friends. That's without no doubt. So I think you have to respect your partner. That's very, very important. I can remember back in the days when we were just some few years into our marriage. I had some friends then, that we're not married. And we did all sort of things. We went to the club, but we were still single. And I observed the fact that each and every time those guys come around, my wife, it's not like she's going to say she doesn't like my friend, but sometimes she's not comfortable. She's more comfortable with my friends that are married, that she knows that when they come to see us, they'll say, oh, I'm going home, my wife is calling me, I need to go and meet my wife and my kids. She's more comfortable with, with those type of friends. So at some point, you need to just respect your partner. And I had no choice than to just pull myself out, gradually from the friendship. It's not as if we don't see, we still see, but not like before, because my wife is more comfortable with me having friends that, that we share the same vision, that once they stay in my house, once it starts getting late, they'll be like, you know what, I need to go, my wife is calling me. If I have a particular friend that whenever he comes to my house, the wife is always calling him, when are you coming home? So my wife is more comfortable with friends like that. But with the single ones, no, she's not. So in terms of the other question you asked, Angela, so I think having friends that are single, I'm still going to play, the fact that there was a time, myself and my wife went to the same college. I used to have a friend then, we were very close. And there was a time she was coming to America and she was like, oh, she would like to come and pay us a visit. We never dated, but my wife didn't like it, And then we were friends, and although she's even married, but the fact that my wife doesn't even like the fact that, oh, you know what, you guys have been friends since college days, and she's still contacting you, she didn't like it. So I think you need to respect your partner. Just like what Michael said, after God, I believe, in marriage, your partner is very, very important. So you need to consider, the way they feel about certain things. Thank you.
Go. Yeah. Okay, I'll try to be quick because I want to make sure you have enough time. But I had a situation with my husband when it came to business partner friends. And, the Word of God talks about we have different, spirits, but it comes from one, like everybody has different gifts, but from one spirit. But I have a strong spirit of discernment and that prophetic side. I used to lord it over my husband when it came to some of his friendships, especially when it came to business. And I realized that even sometimes when you have a spiritual gift, when it comes to how you sense a friendship, God will never ever use your spiritual gift to kill some other commandment or part of his word that you're supposed to obey. Anything that we do, we have to always use, even if you see something wrong, within maybe an old friendship, because those things definitely come up in marriage in one way or another. It's very important to let God be the head of that. And not just, well, I have an insecurity about my husband being around women and he can't be around women, or I don't like that friend and you need to just get him out of your life. Not using that spirit of manipulation, even though, yes, there's something you may see, but God will never ever, let's say if you have a spirit of discernment and God shows you something about a friend that's bad and things like that, God will never ever show you that to the detriment of your marriage, to the detriment of the trust between you two. However he showed you is for the edification of you all's unity. So it's just important not to, get manipulative. Even if you do notice those things, know that God is bigger. Be secure in him solving it enough to where you still keep that unity in the process. So.
And just to add to that, I think to keep the gospel first. So, for example, I used to live in Austin, and my best friend there was a girl. And she actually came to our wedding. Right now she's still single, but now we're actually praying for her to know Christ. And she said I'm like the most stable person in her life. So she calls, I met this guy, what do you think? And we talk for a long time, and usually I put her on speaker just because I want her to feel comfortable. So she comes and hey, hi, and then she says hi to her. But because I'm consciously trying to put the gospel first, I know we're only in this world for our shifts. So let me do my part in this shift for God's kingdom. And I think if we're able to do that, and I think that in itself is going to limit my interaction. So before my wife starts having to say something, if this relationship is not contributing to God's kingdom, then why am I in it in the first place? And that kind of filters itself.
So for me, yes, you're gonna have to start limiting your relationship with your single friends, unfortunately. 'Cause it sucks, like, if you're really close to them, and you're the one that got married first, and it's like, it kind of just happens by itself usually, unless you're like all in the same place, in the same city, and close together, like maybe you can still balance it. I think it also depends on like how your spouse is. Some spouses don't care if you're still friends with your friends and you go out and stuff and you balance your relationship and everything. But if you have someone who does care about that, then you have to respect how they feel about it. That's something I really had to learn, because all my friends are Christians, they're all good females, like we're all on the right path in life, and we want to go on a girls trip. And boy was like, I'm not really feeling that, like you're the only married one. And I was like, yeah. So now that I'm married, I can't go on a trip with my friends that I've known for years. Like, it didn't really make sense to me. And like, we kept going back, we didn't really go back and forth about it. Like, at one point he was just like, okay, it's fine. But like, the spirit started moving and things started happening, and even me, like, I started to feel myself like I shouldn't go on this. For the fact that he even made a comment about it, like, that means there's something about it that's not sitting completely right with him. And I had to also look at it from his point of view, like, okay, if he had a bunch of guy friends, all of them are single, and he's trying to go on a trip with them, like, how would I really actually feel about that? So, yeah, you really have to respect your person's point of view. Make sure you guys communicate to know, like, what level are you on that, because that stuff can cause a lot of issues. So like you said, it was bumpy in the beginning, so definitely have those conversations, like, outright before even getting married, to see how your partner feels. Some people are okay, some people aren't, and you have to respect your partner's opinion.
I will make it quick. We are actually in that phase. A lot of our friends are not married. We are probably like the only married person here, and she's a sanguine, I'm a sanguine. So the truth about it is, even when you are in their midst, you kind of feel weird. That's the truth. Like, or whatever they're doing, you just feel like you're not glitching to it anymore. Like, something is, if they want to go this way, you know that place you can't really go. Your partner, like, you will be seeing those stuff. So at that point, you don't even force it. Don't force to go to, like, they want to go to Cancun for a birthday, they're going with a bunch of guys, and married, you can't really go and fit in. Probably they're going to be drinking all sorts and doing, you can't fit into that kind of stuff. So you probably also step back, So, but one thing that we've been praying to God to help us is to, find a couples, married people that are friends, that are godly, those are the people also we want to be around. We can share the word of God together. We're going to talk about marriages, family, and all that kind of stuff. So I would say it's important to know that, the Bible says that those friends always end up winning. There's only one friend that sticks closer, which is Jesus Christ. So it's better you hold on to Jesus as the only friend.
Awesome. Okay, so we had a question that's been pending. He's going to ask his question, and then we respond to the question, and then she's going to ask a question. And you're going to be the last question. So if we can do all of this within 10 minutes, that'll be amazing.
Yeah, no problem. Hope you guys can hear me well.
Yep.
So I'm currently writing a book on relationships and dating, and what I've come to find out is that there's a lot of unrealistic expectations, which is causing people to generate this expectation from social media and the culture, and then go after a dating relationship, which will result in a marriage. So, which is not really real. So my question is, what does expectation within the context of marriage look like to you guys?
We have two of our panelists, just two.
Question, do you mean like godly expectations or just expectations?
Yeah, expectations like within the marriage for the both of you, or within each other, or as individuals.
You said how it plays a role.
Yeah, I'm saying, what does that look like for you guys, and what are your thoughts on that?
One thing I would say is this. I realized that anytime I'm trying to measure my husband or have like a certain expectation of him, it's like there's something about the Holy Spirit. He always come right back to you. So how are you doing in that area? Any measurement I give him is something that God has me working on in another way. So let's say if I want him to be I'm a talker. My husband is not. If I want him to talk more, the Lord will ask me, how's your patience? How's your grace for him to grow? You know, things like that. I've noticed when it comes to expectations in marriage, especially when you're letting God be your yardstick of how you measure expectations and things like that, a lot of the time, he's going to make you expect out of yourself for them before he makes you expect out of them for you. So in what you just said, I just think the expectation, if God is really guiding you, most of the time he's going to make you have to deal with yourself versus looking for them to fix something.
Okay, so what I wanted to do, I'm going to take it from the aspect of before getting married. So, like you said, people have expectations based on social media, what they see around. For any woman wanting to get married, your first expectation is supposed to be that, does he love God? That's what I did for myself. Because I know that if this man loves God, there's no how he will want to hurt one of God's creation. So I don't want someone that will hurt me. So most nowadays, women look for, does he have six-pack? Does he have this? Those ones are just, he can always have six-packs. That one will always come. But before getting married, from a woman's perspective, does he love God? Is he kind? Is he willing to share? He might not be rich. What I mean share, if he has $10, is he willing to part with $2 for you? That means he will share when he has much more. So that's what you should expect before getting married. Don't be like, he must have six-pack. He must have this. He might not have a car. He might not have a house. But does he have drive? What is driving him? That means, is he hardworking? Those things will come afterwards. So I'm a woman, so I can't say for a man, but for a woman wanting to get married, don't always set this high standard. He must be tall, dark, and handsome. I wasn't looking for a handsome man, but God blessed me with a handsome man. I wasn't out for that because I knew even if he's not fine, does he love God? Because I don't want to be hot. So he added that. So when I look for what does he love God, God now added to me and gave me a handsome man. So don't look for handsome first. Don't look for six-pack first. Look for does he love God for women, please.
Just to add to what she said, I think it's important to also state that very well. Even God has expectation on us with creation. You know, there's nothing wrong having expectation towards your marriage, but the question is, what kind of expectation do you want? Is it the six-pack, or you're looking for someone that actually loves God, that you know that if there is fights, you say, okay, let's go back, let's go and pray. Or you know that you're going to be serving in the same church, you're going to be in the choir, you're going to be playing keyboard. The question is, what expectation? Is it the social media one or the godly one?
Awesome. So, because of time, we are going to keep it short at this point, and we'll take our last question, and then the next two couple will be able to help us answer that question.
Okay, so I know you are all married, but there was a time when you were all still dating, like you were in the talking stage. And I know on social media and just this generation in general, they say that especially when you're dating, when you're first dating, you shouldn't tell your partner too much about you. Like you shouldn't tell them about your past with somebody else or your family. And I just wanted to know, do you guys agree with that? Like, did you tell your partner when you guys were first dating, let's not say like the first date, but like just like, I guess the first 6 months about your ex or your family or their issues or whatever like that?
Yeah, I definitely feel like you're supposed to tell them all of that. I think what happens is people aren't dating intentionally. If you go into a relationship, you're dating somebody, you're dating them intentional, I feel that you should expose all of that. You should put down the table very quickly. One, that lets them know if they're willing to actually accept it and continue this battle with you or not. And that way you guys can save each other a lot of time and headaches. Before getting overly invested into somebody, and then now letting your skeletons come out the closet, and they're trying to weigh out if they want to deal with that after some time has gone into it. I feel like accountability, intentionality, and commitment are the biggest things when it comes to being married, first of all. So you should show those things prior to even getting there. Yeah, I definitely feel like in the beginning you should be as intentional as you can from both sides about your past, about your expectations, about everything. I feel like that will help you progress better when it comes to being married.
So I was going to talk about, a lot of people might know that myself and Michael dated for a very short period of time before we got married. A very short period of time because we dated for 5 months before we got married. I would say that in my past relationships before meeting Michael, I have exposed myself. I'm an open book. I say how things are. I say things. It comes out, and because I just want you to either accept me or not. So in my past relationship, it has not worked. Every time I say things about me or be vulnerable or get vulnerable with the person, it kind of gets back at me like I'll just get ghosted or something weird will just happen, or like the relationship will start to become sour. But I mean, meeting Michael, like in my head, like many of you might know our story, how we met. I was when I told him that he's going to be my husband, and all of that. Even though like he had nothing for me, he had no feelings for me. But after that, like we didn't date. We just went right into courtship. Right into courtship, and we, in the space of 2 weeks, we told each other everything. Like every single thing. And I think that was when I knew that me just saying, oh, you're going to be my husband playfully was actually going to happen. Like how he exposed himself, how he told me about, even down to the money, his debt, down to like his weaknesses, down to my weaknesses. We just opened ourselves up. And I'm going to tell you, like, that really helped us going forward into marriage. So it, like, fast forward or fast tracked the things that kind of happened afterwards was friends. Like, I'll tell you, like, that friends thing was a big thing in our marriage. Because coming from where I grew up, I didn't need friends, but he needed them. So friends were the things that we didn't even have to discuss it because I thought it was just not going to be a problem. But the things that were some people's problems, and we thought we needed to open. We said everything, so we didn't need to deal with that aspect. And I just feel like if you've had, like, God forbid, someone has been raped before, I feel like you should tell your partner. You've gone through problems in life, just tell your partner. It just lifts that burden up. You won't feel, especially if the guy is the right guy for you, he won't judge you. You just move on with life.
Yes, definitely open up and share everything. I don't know where that new stuff is coming from, or people don't want to share. Like, how are you going to get to know each other? How are you going to get to know if you really want to be invested in that person? I mean, our story is similar. Like, we got engaged within like 9 months, so everything was moving really quick. Like, I feel like probably like from the 4th day he talked to me, he was talking about like future stuff, and I'm like, are we even dating yet? Like, so I think it is really important to open up, and if the person's not willing to, I think that's a sign. If you are and they're not, I think that's a sign right there. A girl on Instagram had reached out to me that I know her. I met her a couple of times, and she was asking me about like, oh, how did you know when you were ready to get married, this and that. So she's in a relationship, and she's just wondering if the guy is ready. And in my head, I'm like, not in my head, I asked her, I was like, do you guys talk about it? Like, I think that's weird. Like, shouldn't you guys be talking about that? Or you should be able to have those open conversations with the person that you want to see they're worth investing your time with.
And I think one of the things she asked was that when should you start talking to them about? So it depends. When you, like he said, when you're intentional, when you want to marry this person, you will know this man actually values you. You will know he's a potential for you. So when you're intentional about a relationship, it just happens naturally. You won't force it. You will just be saying it. Like for me and him now, when we're getting serious, like you just say it in conversations. One time, one this one, so what happened? It's just normal. Yeah. But if you are not intentional, you'll be like, okay, you'll be hiding stuff.
And believe me, if he's the right one, he will stay. God will make him stay. Yeah. So and that's it. So just open up. If he's the chosen one, he would stay. Regardless of whatever you tell him, he will stay.
Awesome. Please let's put our hands together for our panelists. This has been an amazing evening. For so many of us here that still has questions that we could not address today. I'm hoping we'll have something like this again soon. And then let's come with our friends. Let's bring people. Maybe we can make it a bit longer. Maybe we can come in a little bit earlier. We will try and structure it. Some of our questions probably would have come in beforehand, so those questions can be addressed, and we'll just try to make it work. But from our panelists, we want to say thank you to all of you, the amazing audience as well. You guys have been vibrant and you guys have been amazing. Please, let's put our hands together for ourselves. So we are going to be doing the raffle. We'll be going for the draw now. So everybody, is now entitled or has some rights to the raffle. But I want to do something. Before we go for the raffle, our father and our mother are here, Pastor and Pastor Mr. Akinyemi. I know, sir, you are surprised. I didn't tell you, but so the truth is, they've been married, they've done this, they've been through this road, they've seen it, ancient and modern. They started while everything was still old school. Today they are seeing how it's going. They have perspective to both sides of the question. So Sam, if 3 minutes, just talk to us. It's not a question. We're really just trying to learn from everything you've heard. What are those tips for those of us going in? What are those tips we need to get ourselves better prepared? For those of us inside already, what do we need to do or know? What do we need to know to help us build and maintain a godly and a healthy marriage?
Very good. Communicators. Praise God. I am so impressed on everybody, all the questions, the answers, and the panel. And like I was just telling my husband, I said, wow, everybody is talking about God. Everything here is about God. I was thinking we would just come, chill. It's going to be a relaxed atmosphere, and we just talk. But everybody has been going back to God. So the foundation of marriage is God. You have to put God center. God has to be the center. Boy, you kept saying center of gravity. It has to be centered on God. That's the very foundation. Even for my daughter's question, when you meet somebody and you know this is the person, they are intentional, you know that this is going to lead to marriage, then you want to open up and you want to communicate. Okay? If you know it's intentional, you can open up, be transparent with that person when you know it's going somewhere. So for any marriage to last the test of time, you have to have, it's been mentioned here a lot of times, communication. But first, God, communication. One time we had a marriage seminar. We did at a seminar, young adults. And I asked the Holy Spirit before I came that day, and he said, I said, what word do you want me to share with your children? And he said, respect. Respect. Because when you respect somebody, you can't just tell the person, oh, you fat, you this. No. When you respect somebody, you want to know how you communicate with that person. When you respect somebody, you value that person. You do not put that person down. When you respect somebody, you build that person up. You encourage that person. You support that person. You love that person with an unconditional love. Agape love, just like Christ loved the church. That is how you love your partner. When you respect that person, your wife is going out like, Daddy, when I'm coming from work and he hears the car, the garage opens, he's coming out, he's opening the door and he's taking my purse. I might be on the phone with somebody, it's like, yeah, give me, he's taking my bag, my lunch bag, my water cup, he's taking it inside. I might still be in my car on the phone, but all my stuff from the car has gone inside. He's not saying, what are you doing in the car? Come inside. No, he has done that. And he respects my calling. He respects my anointing. He even sees that before every other. Do you know what you carry? You carry this thing that people are looking for. I'm so glad that I have an anointed woman as a wife. I'm so blessed. So he is the one that is nurturing, cultivating that gift that God has given me. And like my daughter here said, when you have a gift, a prophetic gift, you do not use it to manipulate. That's God's given gift. So you know when you are married, you should have that confidence in God if you trust your spouse. And when it comes to friends, people have had friends for a long time. So what do? Even if God gave you that spirit of discernment, you go to your closet and you go talk to God. Tell him how you feel. Because if you go, I don't like your friends, I don't want them, you are married, I want them out, I don't like your mother, I don't like your father. If you do that, you are creating that unhealthy atmosphere, a place without love in that home, and there's going to be crisis, commotion, turbulence. So you don't do that. You go, that particular friend that God has revealed to you, go to your closet. God, I don't want James. James is not a good influence in my spouse's life. Give my husband the same discernment to see, so you are not causing commotion in your own home. And pretty soon, once you are married, your friends know you can't be hanging out except if you are foolish. You know? You see, they will be leaving you gradually. And then they might come back when they are married. It comes right back again. So if you push them away, you know, you might miss what God has in place for you through that friendship. You know, my daughter, they were raised to love people. We raised them like that. So they are married. Even sometimes I will say, hey, these friends. But they're like that. And I know eventually, you know, they will go away. But I'm so, I didn't want to say anything because I'm like, they got it. I was worried about our young adults. I'm like, hey, this social media picking them. But I'm so happy. I'm like, we don't need to say anything. You guys got it. I'm not afraid of you all. I'll just keep praying for you because you got it, because you have God as the center. He's the foundation. If any of you here that doesn't have a partner, or you are not in a relationship now, make sure that whoever you meet has to have God in his life. It's not about the physical, financial. When I met my husband, he didn't have anything. I look at the wall in his house, I saw all his siblings. I said, how come your picture is not in the wall? He said, because I haven't achieved anything in life. I'm like, whoa. Right there, I made a decision. I said, I will make sure he becomes somebody. He has nothing. So, make sure your foundation, that man, that woman you want in your life has to have God. Because only that will hold that marriage. Because storms will come. You might be, I love you now, I love you, go on vacation. But storms will come. Can you stand when turbulence comes? It takes God. Love your spouse. God says to respect them. If you respect them, you won't talk to them anyhow. Respect each other. Respect each other. Even one is not doing that, keep praying and keep respecting and keep loving that person. With time, they will change and turn around.
Praise the Lord. Thank you all so much. You guys are so awesome. And I consider it a privilege to be in your presence. You know, I've sat down since and just soaking everything you guys are saying in. And it amazes me. I only wish this place is packed with your generations. And for you that are here, married or not married, please take something home from here tonight. The Bible says he knows the plans that he has for you. It's not to harm you. It's to prosper you. The Bible tells you about the power of two. Two shall become one. But in two, there's so much strength. When you are doing it by yourself, yes, you might accomplish 100%. But when you become two, doing it together, you will accomplish 1,000. That's why it says one will kill 1,000, but two will kill 10. What a ratio. Can you imagine that gap? I am so proud of all of you. Forget about you being my daughter or you being my son. Forget about that. It takes an hunger from somebody to say they want to put a seminar like this together to just have a true talk. And I pray for every one of you that are here tonight, that the message that you will take out of here, you've all have been so filled up with so much information. But at the end of the day, replay everything in your mind and find one thing that you can take and use. And hold on to it tightly with every strength in you. Like my wife said, people used to look at us and think we just met 5 years ago. No, we did not just. Those are our products. But I always tell them, she comes before you. So I cherish her more than I cherish them. She is my soulmate. She's my partner. She's my comforter. Sometimes when I'm weak, she's the shoulder I lean on. Like she said, when she met me, we were dating, and she came to our house and saw what she saw. She didn't tell me, but she made up that conscious decision in herself. What are you making conscious decision of for the person you want to, that you are trying to pick as your soulmate? Don't look at what they have, what they don't have. Do you look for something that is unique in them that you want? And if you find it, build on that thing. The other things will come into play. You know, I have had, especially both of you, I'm so glad I met you. You guys are awesome. Whatever you are doing, keep doing it. Just know that the plan that God has for you is good. Say, them I've known very well. And Brother Bosun here always make me feel like I'm old. That, we are looking up to you. Like, I'm not old. I'm only 61. Come on. I can still kick anybody's tail anytime I want to. Don't let them hear that, because they will beat the heck out of me. But you guys are so awesome. I am so proud of all of you. Please, marriage is good. Oh, golly. Ooh, you're going to make me speak in tongue. Marriage is good. You guys have said everything that marriages need to survive. Now, hold on to those information. Apply it. While applying it, apply patience to it. That is where the problem always comes from. I can't wait for this to happen. No, you will wait. And while waiting, take a cold water, drink. Patience is a virtue. The person that you are trying to change did not become what they become yesterday. Don't change them. Change yourself. If the mold is not your size, fit yourself in it. And you will find out that you fit. Please, marriage is good. Yes, like my brother raised a question, why has there been so many breakup in marriage? It hurts me. Just this past week, my wife was asking, why are we always been gravitated to marriages that are having problem? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe that's where our calling is. I'm not saying it that it's an happy thing. No, it bothers the living day out of me. Because I look at what they are complaining about. And you're like, wow. Really? You know why you're complaining? Because you wake up this morning. Someone did not wake up this morning. Just because you didn't know doesn't mean it doesn't happen. If we start thinking like that me waking up is grace, then to give grace to somebody will be so easy. But when you don't appreciate the grace that God gives you, then it's easy to abuse it and not give it to somebody else. And we think we are all well made. No, we are not all that. Not at all. We are just being privileged to see God's goodness manifest itself in our life. Why do we think this person is not up to par? When I met my wife, I came with a lot of baggage. And she accepted me. She is as tiny, maybe as you. That at wrist, I always look at, can this lady even carry a cup of water? But when she gave birth to these two lovely ones, everything in the body changed. But does that person change internally? No. Stop looking at the physical appearance, because that will change. Age will catch up with you. When I was young, I was more muscular than you. And I didn't go to gym. I got all my muscle from fetching buckets of water, 2 of them from ground floor to the 3rd floor, filling 4, 5, 6 barrel. So she saw that and she's like, oh, this man is buffed. Yeah. Yeah. It was a free gym. But today, she's like, well, you need to carry some weight. I'm like, okay, all right, leave me alone. I ain't carrying nothing. The only thing I'm carrying is you. But our love never changed for each other. So I beg of you all, please appreciate one another. Love one another. Tomorrow is not promised to any of us. If the Lord calls you home today, what will it read about your book? If we all think like that every day, to offend your partner, you will think twice. Yeah, with times you will sleep, yeah, but don't extend it, prolong it to the point where you can now realize, I might be wrong. To apologize is very easy for me. Wasn't like that from the beginning. But maturity tells you we are all sinners, saved by grace. So I want to congratulate all of you that are here tonight, and I pray that the good Lord will make your home a blissful one. Your union with one another, the one that are married, come rain, sunshine, it will always stand. No matter what the enemy plan, it will not stand. And it shall be well with all of you. Panels of joy on the table, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you. And kudos to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So our panelists, we can all come have our seats. For those of us, let's put our hands together for them. You guys are amazing. Okay, can we have the raffle come here? But for those of us watching online, I want to say thank you also for joining us. We'll be coming to the end of this event tonight. You guys were amazing. Thank you all for participating. Thank you all for giving your comments and your feedbacks. You guys were awesome. Please, let's put our hands together for ourselves.